And I thought it was the UK that was on its arse. Seems like these Americans are really fucking struggling with the cost of living crisis. Check this video out. Tell me it don't break your heart. How can someone earning $80,000 a year be struggling to live? This is
made, and we are literally the brokest we've ever been. Brokest we've ever been.
But I'm making the most money I ever had my entire life. My husband and I, between the two of us, gross, make like over $80,000 a year. And if you told me a few years ago that $80,000 a year was not going to be enough for a family of four.
I make more than what I made back in 2015. But I am still literally living paycheck to paycheck.
I have to work 60 hours a week and make $80,000 a year to make ends meet. That's insane. I can't even begin to wrap my head around it.
Financially, I don't understand anymore. I don't understand how I make $34 an hour and I can't function. I can't pay my bills.
It's impossible to be chronically ill in the US without financial ruin. So let's talk about it while I get ready. I have so many stories on this. I don't even know where to start. I live with chronic illnesses. I've been sick for about 4 years. And let me tell you, the amount of shit that I have had to go through to stay alive. For a little background, I have had 14 brain and spine surgeries and counting. I get bi-weekly infusions at my house that I need to keep my immune system working. And I am headed to Mayo Clinic at the end of the month. So there's just a lot of parts here. Let's just start with the simple facts. So I pay over $400 a month for my premium. I have a $10,000 out of pocket. I have a $0 deductible, but I have to meet the $10,000 out of pocket. And half of my providers don't accept insurance. So I approximately spend about $20,000 to $30,000 a year on my health insurance to keep myself alive. And then my insurance needs pre-approvals for all of my drugs every 6 months. So my doctors and myself have to go through a pre-approval process, and sometimes they just decide to deny the claim. And so then it's not covered and I don't get my meds and I suffer and I end up in the hospital. And I'm so sick that I no longer can see my clients. I work in clinical mental health counseling and I'm no longer able to do that. Granted, I'm still expected to pay all of this money to get proper care, but let me tell you, the US doesn't have the best care anymore. You wait in the ER for a minimum of 5 hours, minimum. You get all of your surgeries denied. You don't have any access to all of the medications that you actually need. The amount of medications that I've been prescribed that I can't get, that have been said, oh, these will save your life, I don't have access to those. If I'm being completely honest, I do not think that the US has the best healthcare. I don't think that it has quality healthcare, and we're certainly just keeping the sick sicker and poor. And it is totally rooted in ableism and racism. I have no doubt about it, especially sexism too. I have had these infusions that truly keep me alive and well for 3.5 years, and it was covered up until June. And then all of a sudden, insurance decided not to cover them anymore because someone with an associate's degree decided that my doctors didn't know best, and they decided, oh, she doesn't need this anymore. So now I owe tens of thousands of dollars to keep myself alive.
I don't want to live here anymore. I live in America, and the sense of dread that I feel living here for the next 30, 40 years is so bad, you guys. Let me just give you a little peek into my world. So 5 years ago, me and my husband bought our home. Okay, we bought our home on my 22nd birthday. Our home at the time was valued at $130,000 by the county. Now, mind you, we did not pay this much for our home. I wish we did, but we did not. 5 years later, we just looked. Our home is valued at $248,000 5 years later. Last year, our home appraised at $161,000. If we were to try to buy a home now, I don't think that we would be able to do it. 5 years ago, all they told you was you needed good credit and $10,000 saved up. That was more attainable 5 years ago for a couple of early 20-year-olds than it would be for two people dual income in our mid-20s right now. At the time, me and my husband were making really good money. I mean, for two people that don't have college degrees, we were making well over $100,000 a year. And in the South, specifically Texas, that used to could stretch. Nowadays, it literally doesn't mean anything. Like, groceries are too high. The cost of living is too high. The housing crisis is out of control. People move. It's bad. It's bad, you guys. It's getting bad, and it's getting worse and worse by the year, no matter who's elected president. We were not put on this earth to work 70 plus hours a week, not be able to spend time with our families. We were put on this earth to consume art, have community, try new foods, new cultures, travel. We did everything that they tell us you're supposed to do. We went to college. Now, do we have degrees? No. We went to college. We saved up the money. We worked really hard. We bought the house. People base their whole self-worth off of their work ethic. I'm not one of those people. Even if you say, oh, you've done this and this, and look at all the things you've acquired. I don't care. I can't even imagine people that stay at their job 30, 40 years. Kudos to you. It's really hard for people, and I think especially my generation, to just see us doing the same thing for the next 30 years. And for what? I don't know what we're supposed to do. People my age. Is this it? Is this what we do? Forever? Nah. I don't want to live here anymore. I don't want to do this. And I'm not saying that there's somewhere better and there's a utopia that you don't have to work. But I think that there has to be somewhere that it's beneficial for the amount that you work. Fun. People will say, well, what are you going to do when you're older? How are you going to retire? I don't know. But I know that I'm going to enjoy every day and I'm going to be happy every single day.
I am a single woman. I have a good job. I make decent money. I own a home. I own businesses. I do all these things so that I can have a good amount of money back at the end of the year. And still yet, after filing my taxes, I'm not getting anything back. My question is just like, after all of these things, what else do I need to do? I mean, even if I got married, like, I don't even really see that being a true benefit to me being able to get my money's worth out of living in America. It's just a money suck, energy suck, time suck. It's like living in a slave wage all the time. No matter how much money you make, things go up in price. Everything's just more expensive. It's so hard to live here, and I'm really just getting so tired of it. I can't stand it anymore. I think the hard truth of the matter is that America is set up to not allow me to succeed with ease. And I'm still going to keep fighting. I'm still going to achieve everything I want to achieve and gain everything that I want to gain. However, I don't know if this is the environment to thrive in. I think that I need to wake up to the harsh reality that I already knew, which is the American dream is a figment of my imagination. That shit is not designed. It doesn't exist in this timeline right now for my generation and the future generation. That shit is dissipated with our parents and grandparents. And I don't know why I keep sticking around thinking that things are going to turn around when in reality it hasn't, and it's getting worse. And why am I just putting up with the abuse instead of leaving? It's like, it doesn't even actually make sense.
Morning. It's like 7:14 a.m. Slept with my sweater on. Man, waking up and being in America in general, it's just stressful as hell, man. The system is fucked up. Our president is destroying its own country. Food is poison. Nothing is real. Nothing's organic. People are depressed, suffering from mental illness. Nobody is nice, good anymore. The music is poisoning up. Nothing is good coming off of social media and from the music. Like, damn. Like, what the fuck? You are just slowly, basically fucking dying, living in America at this point.
If you live in America, I'm about to show you something very shocking. And quite frankly, every single one of us Americans is feeling this right now, especially if you have a family. But this video right here will let you know what time we are living in and how bad things have gotten. The cost of living is through the roof. And here's why. Check this out.
All right, I've seen 2 videos in the last week talking about the same thing, and they're on point, but they're forgetting one big fact. So I'm going to cover this right now. This is what a lot of people don't realize. Almost everybody I know realizes that life is more expensive now, and that all of us are being outpaced by the cost of living. The cost of living has been skyrocketing for the last 20 years at least, and the rate of pay and salaries, basically our compensation has not been keeping up with it, not even close. So all of us know this. Back in 2006, 2007, 2008, we went through that whole thing. And I remember how crazy the inflation felt. And I remember seeing a speech by Ron Paul talking about how it's not really the goods getting more expensive. It's just, it takes more of our dollars because our money is becoming less valuable. That is true. All right. Now, little fact. Here's a fact you may not know. Maybe you do know this. The Great Depression. Okay. If you go back to, 1930, 1933, that period, it was considered to be economically the worst time in the United States history. It was the time when everybody struggled. People were, eating rodents on the street. And if you go and do your math, you figure out that during the Great Depression, 1933, I think, was the worst year. If you take what the average income, 25% of the workforce was out of work, the unemployment rate, 25%. It's pretty high. But the people who were employed, the average income was between $3,000 and $4,000. That's a real number. Now, if you take that number, $3,000 or $4,000, go with whichever number you want, and you adjust that for inflation and cost of living to today's money, and it comes in right around between $88,000 and $93,000. Back in the Great Depression, people were struggling and starving because they were only making $80,000 or $90,000. Like, really let that sink in for a second. So now those 2 videos that I saw have said that. Okay, and that's a real thing. I get it. One of them said like $3,300, and the other guy said $4,000. But anyway, it's between $3,000 and $4,000. But here's what they forgot to mention. You know what they didn't have in 1933? All of the taxes and fees that have been piled on top of us over all these years, in the last 70 years. You guys know what I'm talking about, okay? We've got thousands of taxes that we're paying now. We've got gas tax, cigarette tax, soda pop tax, you name it. They didn't have that back then. If you just look at statistics, you're going to also find out that they added on income tax and payroll tax. Those are 2 new giant taxes. The taxes skyrocketed right after the Great Depression, and it compounded by 3 once payroll tax and income tax got added to that. So they basically tripled our tax, and ever since then they've been printing money like crazy, which is making all of our money less valuable, which is causing a bigger problem, okay? So not only would we need $80,000 or $90,000 a year right now in order to match what people were struggling with during the Great Depression, but right now we would probably need double or triple that to make up for all the taxes that we're paying, okay? All right, now it gets even crazier, because if you guys haven't noticed a trend, and I'm going to end on this note, there's a little stupid trick that our government is doing now, and you guys should be aware of it. We should be paying attention to it, and we should be screaming about this. The government has figured out that, okay, taxes are hard. Why? Because no taxation without representation. We have to vote on and approve taxes. You know what we don't have to vote on or approve? Fees. And they have figured out that if they just call something a fee, it's not a tax, and they can just make it up and charge it to us. Stop and think about all of the fees that you're being forced to pay. Now, I'm going to call bullshit on that. A fee is something that is a choice. I don't think that there should be any mandatory fees, because a mandatory fee is a tax. So I'm just going to call bullshit on that. And I think awareness is the first step. I think all of us need to be aware of what's happening, and speaking out against this is going to be the next step. Taking our government to task on this stuff The transparency needs to be there and accountability needs to be there. And these politicians that are getting elected that aren't actually doing anything to fix this problem, they need to be held accountable. I'm going to end on that note for this video.
This is what I'm struggling with in America right now in my 20s. Why is everything so expensive? Why am I making more money waitressing than I would make using my college degree? I barely have a life. I have 2 days off and I work Wednesday to Sunday, doubling just to pay my bills. At 22 years old, all of my bills are in my name. I have no help. How are y'all affording housing? In Myrtle Beach, a 1-bedroom apartment is $1,500. Bullshit. Bullshit. How are y'all getting insurance, going to the doctor, getting medicine? And then some of us are trying to be TikTok influencers. Who knows where that's going to get me? Me and my boyfriend are saving, but we barely see each other during the week, and it feels like we're working our asses off for nothing. Do we need to move somewhere for a better job opportunity that we don't know about? Do any of y'all really know what you want to do with your life right now? It is so scary being in America right now. If you can relate to this, if you have any advice, please comment and let me know. It's ridiculous.
The American people are the biggest slaves of any citizenship in the entire world, because the American people are the only people that are told, go work super hard, go take a massive amount of your life, and we're going to take at least half your money. When we take half your money, we're going to send it overseas, or we're going to mismanage it, or we're going to send it over here for quote-unquote aid. Where's our motherfucking aid? Where's our aid from Kuwait or any of these other rich countries to fix our homeless problem? Do you ever notice that none of the other citizens on the planet work so that we can have a better here in America? It's always the other way around. Why the f*** are we, the citizens of the United States of America, financing the well-being of every other f***ing country in this planet? Until people wake up to that and say no more, shit's gonna continue. This land of the free, that's a f***ing joke. Land of the motherfucking worker bees is what we are.
Guys, hey. So that just about wraps it up for the exploration of the cost of living in the U.S. Just a reminder to myself and others who may be out here struggling or looking, just remember that when you move or anywhere you go, budgeting and smart financial planning are really essential keys, and that is wherever you go. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the bell notification for more. Thanks again for watching. I hope you guys will be so kind and leave comments in below, so that way I can get some more ideas of great places that you all have visited in the country or around the world. Myself, I'm looking to explore the world and also looking to possibly move out of the country soon, just for a new fresh start, a new beginning. Yeah, I would like to know what are some places you've been and what is some things you know about those places, and just some good ideas of how you would how you like the place and things like that. So maybe that can give me some inspiration on some places to look at. Once again, I thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you guys like this video. Thank you guys.